Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
We want to thank our sponsor, Frost Giants Games, for making this show possible. Frost Giants Games is Wisconsin's game store of choice for board games, Magic the Gathering, and other card games. Check them out at www.frostgiantgames.com. What's up, guys? It's your boy Dalton here, and I'm here with Jacob.
Yo.
And this is episode 17.
17?
17, man.
Dang, man.
You
know, I got to say something. We've been really busy around here. We've been reorganizing our studio. Dalton and I just got back from a major tournament for several of the card games we play, the Bushiroad ones, except Y Shorts. And I'm currently dealing with a move. And I got to say, man, all that going on has been pretty chaotic. Take it away.
So, by Jacob's very horrible pun. Yes, we are talking about the TCG called Chaotic, which should have been an OCG. It would have survived better. But that's besides the point.
All right, all of you watching this episode, do us a favor right now. Raise your hand. Oh, we can't see that. Raise your hand.
One's in the comment.
Right now, let us know if you, first of all, have ever heard of Chaotic. What do we know about Chaotic? Because have you played Chaotic, first of all?
I have not played Chaotic.
Have I? Yes, I have.
Have you?
Yep. I do remember when Chaotic was kind of big here in the U.S. It's not originally from here or Japan, the two places card games normally come from. But a few years after it was created, it was they tried to push it in the American market, and I do remember that. It had a TV series, which I watched. I don't know, did you watch that?
Of course I watched Chaotic, man.
And shortly after the game started to die down is when I started collecting the cards for it, because they were dirt cheap. And I still have a bunch of them. I was going to bring some in to demonstrate today, but like I said, I'm in the middle of a move, and I couldn't find them.
Sure. Couldn't find them.
Yeah. All right, so you've never played this game, but from the show, which is kind of based off the card game, you do know kind of how it works, right?
It's just like Buddy Fight, man. In anime card game perspectives on how you can
I was just going to say, like,
play the other.
No, its gameplay is quite different.
Oh, yes, it's quite different, different.
So the first thing I mentioned is not from the U.S. originally. Where is it from?
I want to say it was from Norway.
Close.
Yeah, it's in that area.
It's a Danish game. Came from the delicious pastries.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting game. It was invented in the early 2000s. I believe it was called, originally, it was not called Chaotix. It was called Gruels and Gonks, or something like that. It was a very strange name, and they changed the name, and it ended up starting there in the in Europe, and I believe it was around 2005 that it began being licensed for the United States, which is where we are from, and that's where
we're from the U.S.
Yeah,
are you sure about that?
Positive.
Because by this time, some things have happened in the political world.
We might willingly annex ourselves to Canada. Who knows?
Yeah.
That being said, I don't have that much experience with the game. I played it very casually, and my memories on a few parts of it are kind of vague, so bear with me. And
they do that all the time, Jacob. Don't worry.
Oh, I know. I'm terrible. I really appreciate the gameplay, though. It's drastically different from anything I've experienced in any other card game, and I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It does some really unique things, and that's why I think it's still worth at least trying out today. That being said, the card game is definitely dead.
What?
Actually, every aspect of it is dead. It was a three-pronged approach at making a franchise. At the same time, all interconnected, you had an animated TV show, which for those of us in the West, there were a lot of channels you could find it on. I watched it on 4Kids.
I watched it somewhere. It might have been 4Kids.
Might have been. And then there was the card game itself, which you could buy booster packs of.
Oh.
And all of them were characters you saw in the anime. I keep saying anime. In the cartoon series, technically not an anime. Though it did use an anime art style, at least for part of it. And then an online card game. And virtually every card game has some sort of online capabilities, but Chaotix is different. So the way it worked with every single trading card you opened, they had a unique code at the bottom of the card. Yu-Gi-Oh! Does codes as well, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But the difference is with Yu-Gi-Oh! All copies of the same card have the same code. Every single chaotic card is completely unique with its code. No two cards have the same codes.
Even if it's the same card.
Yep.
They're two different codes.
So if I have two copies of one monster, one might have UG, and the other one might have GHCQ, whatever. And that being said, that's not the only ways they could be unique. There were some cards that actually had different stats, even though they were the same card, because they were unique.
Yeah, because based off the show, you basically had either you caught a picture of them when they were weaker, or you caught a picture of them when they were at their peak performance. So, obviously your stats are different.
Yep. And first of all, congrats on that game. That is a super unique concept.
Oh, yeah.
It really makes trading hard, though, because you're like, I know I will never get this card again if I trade it away to someone. Because it truly is unique.
Yeah,
one of a
that's
kind.
true. That is...
I did not play the online card game. And the entire reason for that is at that time when it was popular and still active, I didn't own a computer. So that kind of stopped me from doing that. But I always wanted to. But I mainly played the physical card game. So why don't we get into how that card game worked?
Well, it's a very simple setup. It's typically between two players, right? And they can either start off with 1, 3, 6, or 10 different creatures.
And note, those are kind of the standard ones, but technically you could use any number.
Yeah, any number. Maybe even like 121. But that's other things.
Little excessive.
If you have the cards, do it. And then with each creature, you attach a battle armor. I'm gonna mess it up. It's a magic card, but it's
Okay.
MUGIC.
Yep, Music.
That's what it was.
And it's
Music.
battle gear.
That's what I said.
Yep.
What did I say?
It's battle armor, man.
Battle armor. My fault.
Because it could be more than just armor. You equip them with an item. Could be a sword. One of my best ones was a crown that they could wear. There are a lot of different things. And then you touched upon magic, but it's called Music. And
And
that's
it's magic.
Yeah, it's magic mixed with music.
Ah, yes. I forgot about that.
So it's really cool how they did that, because each one is a song. And they're played, and they give either stat boosts or a buff to your health or heal you, or even
change the arena, the location.
change the location. There are a lot of really unique ones, and they're very fun. The thing is, every single creature you have gets one battle gear if you have enough battle gear cards.
Yeah.
But you're limited to the amount of music you can have, and that's for all of your creatures. It's single use as well. For most games, I don't know. Sometimes I guess people would customize it, but typically if you're doing like a 3 or a 6 creature battle, typically it's 3 total.
Mm-hmm.
And then those aren't the only cards. There are 2 other types. You had attacks, which were what you'd consider your deck for the game. It was typically a 20-card deck, and you'd be able to choose with your hand, which you had 2 cards in your hand, and after every battle you'd get to draw 1. You'd get to choose which ones you'd want to use from your hand, but like I said, 2-card hand.
Card hand. But it worked with the game.
And then your only other type of card is locations. Which you have a set number of location cards, like I said, based off of how many creatures you're using. And they're shuffled and one is randomly selected, and that is where you play in each battle.
Some of them give boosts for certain tribes and so forth.
So the entire goal of the game is, if you've ever played Pokemon, knock out all your opponent's creatures. That's it.
What?
And there are different ways to do that, and it's actually a really interesting concept because you've got a lot more control over your starting board state with what creatures you set and where you position them. Each turn, whoever's turn it is, your creature can move one space, and depending on where they move, can attack an opponent's creature that's adjacent to them, which starts a battle. And this happens every turn till one player's creatures are all dead. And then at the beginning of the battle, a location is selected by the turn player, and the location has rules on it to decide which player's creature gets to attack first. And these can be a lot of different things. It could be, if your creature's this race, it goes first.
Race. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't bring race into this now.
Whoa.
Tribes.
Tribes. Okay. All right. I guess you're right. Oops. And they also had stats on each card, which can be different. Unique, like we mentioned earlier, and those can be a deciding factor. They can also be used as a deciding factor over, say, if you can equip this item or not, or you can use this music. Do they have enough intelligence to let you use it?
Intelligence. Oh, we're getting into stats now.
Besides those things, though, your stats don't have any direct input on the damage you're doing to each other. That's a set number. And then you have health. And each player just takes their turn doing an attack until one of them dies.
Yeah.
And with attack cards and music and your battle gear and your abilities on your cards, it can make a really intense battle.
Or very long, drawn out, and oh gosh, the original day game.
Especially if you're doing like a 20v20.
No, more like 120.
Oh.
120.
Ooh, that's a little too spicy.
Nah, it's not spicy enough.
So we mentioned tribes.
Tribes.
There are 5 tribes. We probably would have gotten more if the game had lasted longer, but we got 5.
It almost seems like a Magic comparison, you know.
And I have to say, they're all really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So each one has their own color, and each one has their own, like, I don't know, focus, theme.
Yeah.
You have the overworld.
Overworld, which is blue.
Yes. And they're all focused on, like, real animals or beasts. Things like orcs and whatnot are kind of common. But they're the overworld. They're the good guys, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Then you have the underworld, which is a lot of demons and scaly things and like orcs and ghouls and stuff. They're red, right? Then you have the Danian, which are bugs, and they're brown.
Is it because of a dung beetle?
I don't know. I really don't know why. I forgot to mention, Overworld, typically they focus on getting stat boosts. That's kind of one of their big things. The Underworld focuses on doing burn damage.
Oh, wow. Talk about every red color out there.
Danians focus on getting stat boosts and dealing extra damage depending on the other numbers of other Damians around them, like a horde or a hive.
Huh. Sounds familiar somehow.
And then my personal favorite was the Mepedians. Mepedian.
Okay.
It actually is M''Pedian, so Mepedian.
Okay.
Yep. And they're lizards that live out in the desert. And they focus a lot on using music and really utilizing it well.
Oh, so they're very smart.
High intelligence, and they also had the ability to cloak themselves, make themselves invisible. Some of them. I think it was called Mirage, the actual keyword for it.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Going off memory, so. And then the last one was Marillions, which were like sea creatures. I believe their color was like black. Mepedians was yellow.
Yes, it was.
I don't actually remember Marillions very well. I never owned any of their cards. Well, I had a few, but like I mainly focused on Mepedians and like Danians. And I had a structure deck or whatever they're called for Overworld. So I don't really know that much about their play style. Let's just say it was awesome.
Hopefully.
So that's kind of the basics of the card game.
But you're forgetting about a color.
Oh, am I?
You're forgetting about the Tribeless, which was white.
Oh, I never even owned any. I'd assume there were ones, but I've never had any.
There probably were many, but yeah, I got my little information here, making sure everything's going well.
All right. Yeah, I never owned any of them. I do know that all your battle gear was colorless, so you could technically equip battle gear to anything, but the battle gear, like the abilities off of them, oftentimes only helped certain things.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the card game. First, what do you think of the card game?
Based from the anime, show, anime, whatever it's called, I feel like it should have just mainly focused on being online. Like, not trying to knock the physical version of it, but from watching the show, it's just like this game was born for the internet. It was supposed to evolve. It could have been like a video game for PC that you can buy these packs to add in these creatures and so forth. Kind of like what Pokemon tried doing that one time. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm actually a really big fan of the physical card game. And it's nice because, you can't turn the servers off on the physical card game, which
Yeah, you
the
can.
servers...
Not many people are interested in it.
Well, that's not the same thing. If you want to play it online now, you can't. The game no longer exists in an online form. And that's something I wanted to bring up. Where is the game now? What are things looking like? It's dead.
Pretty blank, yeah.
As a positive, if you want to collect the cards and try it out physically, it's super easy. Cards are really cheap, almost Duel Masters level of cheap. And actually, a large part of my collection came from a Dollar Tree, which had packs of like 5 packs of them for $1.
Nice.
So, really easy to get into now. Finding someone to play with, not so much. But it's definitely fun. If you're TCG nerds like we are,
You'll find a way.
You'll find a way.
You will find a way.
That being said, I really do hope that maybe at some point we can actually have a game or two and record it to show people what the game actually plays like. Maybe that's something we'll do in the future. What do you think?
Your intelligence isn't very high, but I'll see what I can work with.
Oh, I don't see the game coming back. We don't even know who technically owns the rights to it right now. No one does. I don't see it coming back, and that's a really big shame because one of the things that actually hurt it was the fact that, it was the mid to late 2000s, and granted, a lot of people had computers, but it was still a barrier to entry. Now, say they remade it right now, physical card game still, a new show maybe, not really that much of a focus, and the game, but on smartphones. Who doesn't have a smartphone? And kids, they might not have. You're holding one right now.
No, this is not a smartphone. It's a droid. That's different.
Oh, Dalton, you're killing me. Smartphones are so much more ubiquitous than PCs were then, and even for people who had PCs, there were times where you couldn't use it or whatnot, and they're not portable. But say smartphone or tablet, and for kids, there are a lot more kids messing around with iPads or their parents' cell phones than there were kids on PCs then.
That's true. Very true.
So that would be really cool, but it's never going to happen. I truly feel that. I could see that.
Let's make chaotic great again.
Oh, Dalton, no. No, don't use that phrase.
Let's make great chaotic again?
Sure. So, we did not really touch on the show. I watched basically all of season 1, watched a couple episodes of season 2, then checked out. What about you?
When it was on, it was on.
Kind of the same deal. What do you remember distinctly about it that was good, and what about it was bad?
the whole new world that you get transported to. The animation styles were kind of a little bit weird in between season 1 and 2.
Yeah, they shifted the animation. Some people really don't like season 2's animation style.
It looks stupid.
I think I kind of prefer it.
No,
honest.
the original OG, man.
Man, everyone has their opinions.
Everyone goes OG.
The thing with it, though, the one thing that really hooked me into the show wasn't the actual battles themselves or like the characters. The characters were actually kind of cliche and bad. But what I really liked about the show was the world building and atmosphere, the lore that they established through it for the different tribes.
Mm-hmm.
Really good stuff, and I actually appreciate that and would love to see more.
I kind of like the whole fact of how the creatures were not self-aware in that sense, but were aware of the game itself.
Yeah, the creatures knew about the game, which I guess means they could never win the game.
Yeah, I lost the game.
Me too. Yeah. We lost the game, guys.
Oh,
Oh, no.
old things.
Sorry if any of you were playing the game. Well, you're all playing the game. It's mandatory. Sorry for making you remember the game.
You lost.
Yep. Type in the comments how frustrated you are at us for making you lose. Well, now that we've crushed everyone's spirits, what else do you want to talk about with Chaotic?
Let's hypothesize.
Okay.
Say we bring it back.
You and me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Just us.
How would we improve it?
Well, I already touched on smartphones instead of PC,
Mm-hmm.
which I think would be a big advantage.
But what else would you add to it?
To the game itself?
Yes.
Well, that's a really good question. Obviously, I haven't played it in a while. More variety, I think. More tribes. Not too many. Don't want to get absurd. And, you know, kind of one of the things I really did actually like about it was the art on the cards themselves was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to highlight that. Make some shiny full art cards and stuff.
You and full arts.
It's really cool. I guess making the game more friendly to new players, because like it wasn't that hard to learn, but no one was there to teach me to play it, so I learned on my own.
That's the
And
best
really
way.
establishing the community.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know about if I agree about adding more tribes and so forth, because then it kind of ruins the balance, the chemistry.
Well, what would you add?
What would I add?
Yeah.
I would add more to each tribe, making them a little bit more unique.
All of them get dragons. That's how Bushiroad does it, and it works for them. All of them get dragons.
Looks like this show's over. No. No, I was thinking more like almost in a sense with Vanguard, how they almost each clan has like two main play styles that you can use. Do something like that. Like you have what was his name? Maxor. Yeah, Maxor. You have the support stuff for Maxor and then one other big name person in the overworld, and kind of develop that and then slowly bring in others and so forth. Kind of build up each character in a sense.
Something also interesting was that kind of brought up to me was the cards themselves are deeply connected to each other from the same race, the same tribe. You had one card which, in its flavor text, talked about how it met Maxor, or one of them talking about how it wished it could be the leader of the tribe. Stuff like that is really interesting, and I'd love to see that incorporated actually into the gameplay. For example, maybe one of them, you had a card that had a special ability where it could stab Maxor in the back. If you have Maxor on the field as well, you can kill off Maxor and give it a huge boost and make it the new leader.
Man, you must hate Maxor.
No, he's pretty cool.
Obviously not if you're trying to kill him already. Jeez.
And just adding more levels to the characters, because everyone knew Maxor was the leader, and there were a couple others that you knew were like his close allies.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were kind of like, oh, here's a unit, here's a unit, here's a unit. But making more of those patterns and families and trees.
Okay.
Really interesting stuff. Like, It doesn't have to affect the gameplay, but that stuff kept it interesting. It made me actually want to read the flavor text on the cards. Only card game that's ever done that.
Make story with the flavor text, y'all.
Yeah. It's really good stuff there. Anything else you'd change?
I almost kind of want to say along the ideas of smartphones, actually getting a real life, actually working, what was it called? The chaotic reader? No. What was the
Scanner?
The scanner.
Yeah.
Yeah, a scanner. Even though I'd be like,
So
would it be
basically,
impossible? It's basically another cell phone,
you
but
want,
you only can use that game.
you want Chaotic Go.
Yes. I want Chaotic Go as its own device.
All right. Do you have anything else we want to add to this discussion? Hopefully for, those people out there who actually know what Chaotic is, they're like, oh yeah, Chaotic. For the others, go, what? What is this game?
Check it out.
Let us
Slowly bring it back.
Yeah. Let us know if you want to see us play it.
Yes.
Because I'll find my cards or just buy new decks.
Yeah, you do that. You do that.
And that'd be fun. Have a 20v20 or 30v30 match. Make it last a billion years. Who knows?
Billion years. Oh, goodness.
Yep. Do you have anything else to add, or are we done?
Well, are you done?
I'm done.
All right, guys. Thanks again for checking out TCG Buzz. Remember to like, subscribe, comment. One's in the comments if you've heard of this game. 2, if you've played it.
3, I just made you remember the game again. Boom!
Oh, God. Thanks again, y'all. Remember, stay classy.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.